Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 20th of May and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, this is the second time that I am recording this video. Earlier we had done live of this particular session, but in between there was some issue that came and stream was not visible to you. So now I am recording this session and you will be seeing it as uploaded video. So in the today's session, we'll take analysis of entire newspaper and you can also download the synoptic notes of this session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram channel is given in description box in YouTube. Now, before that, let's see overview of the newspaper. So guys, the first article, Hindenburg Adani case, expert panel clears SEBI. So you might be already knowing that Hindenburg, a short seller, has alleged that Adanis were involved in stock pricing manipulation, accounting manipulation. Okay, then after that, when this particular allegation was made, Adani's stock prices went down and the Supreme Court constituted a SEBI committee. Now, guys, basically the progress of this particular committee has been provided. So there were 13 entities with which the links of the Adanis were to be ascertained, but much progress has not happened. Okay, so guys, those particular developments are going on. You are not required to go and track basically the status of the inquiry or this particular thing day by day. Fine. Then RBI to pull out 2000 notes from active circulation. So from active circulation, the 2000 notes are being pulled out, which were introduced after the 2016 demonetization. Okay, guys, one more thing is that when we talk about these 2000 rupees notes, they are being withdrawn from circulation, and if you have them, you can exchange it from the nearby bank branch. But please don't do PhD in this particular thing. Fine, all these things. Then moving on, here we have one important article. Center reverses Supreme Court order, gives LG final say on bureaucrats. Though a very small and a very less place has been given to this article, but a very important article for our examination. GS paper number 2, polity related issues. Private hospitals in Kerala in search of bouncers. So guys, we have seen that recently there were some of the attacks in the hospitals on the doctors that have been made. Because of that particular thing, Kerala government also came out with the Kerala Healthcare Service Persons and Healthcare Prevention of Violence and Damage to Property Act. Okay, so just in order to save the doctors, these steps have to be taken up, which is an unfortunate thing. Then moving on to the city section. So guys, in the city section, orders on transfers, app cries a foul. So this is nothing but the continuation of this article. Fine, we will take it up. Then guys, further moving on, we have the regional issues, advertisements, etc. that has been given in the city section. Not much important for the examination. So we will be skipping it up. Then largely the political articles. Here there is one article in the regional section that is there, how Gujarat is working to become India's green hydrogen hub. We'll see this particular article with respect to examination. Then again we have the advertisements and all such kind of things, and we directly be reaching to editorial page now. On editorial page, the first article, under reading and over reading the Karnataka vote. So basically recently Karnataka elections got concluded where the Congress had made the government. Now it is discussing the Congress strategy, the BJP strategy. The article is politicized, not much important for the examination, so no need to go too much in detail here. Then further moving on guys, tracking SDG progress, the Bhopal way, good article for exam. We will take this particular article. Then among the elite, so this article talks about India's participation in G7 summit in Japan. We'll see what are the key stakes for India here. We'll take this particular article. Then guys, the change for the better. So this article talks about the shifting of Mr. Rijiju from law ministry. Okay, so that particular dimension has been discussed. However, when Mr. Rijiju was in the law ministry, there was a lot of confrontation that happened between the government and the Supreme Court, particularly the collegium systems and all such kind of things. Okay, but the portfolio reshuffles, etc., not much important for our examination. So no need to go too much in detail. Then further moving on, ground zero report. So Manipur on the boil. Now guys, this particular article is tracking the Manipur crisis that happened step by step. That particular crisis is being tracked here. Now, not very much important for guys the exam much. You just need to understand the reason behind this particular conflict. Okay, that already we have discussed, I think 4, 5, 6 times. And if you have not seen it, let me tell you very briefly. Basically, what is the issue? When we talk about the Manipur, in Manipur, there are the Metis people who are living, and then there are the other tribal people, Kukis, Zomis, and other tribal people that are there. Now the Metis right now did not have the ST status, scheduled tribe status, but they want that they should be given ST status, and from long they are demanding that particular thing. Now what actually happened, the Manipur High Court also in the past have recommended that the ST status can be given to the Metis. Okay, after that thing, the other tribal people, they were not comfortable with that, and they said that Metis are already politically dominant. Okay, the majority of the MLAs in the legislature are from the Metis community. Economically they are dominant, demographically they are more numerous. Okay, around 65% of them. So basically they did not want it, and because of this particular thing there was a clash that broke out in between them. Okay, then further moving on, guys, today is Saturday. On Saturday we don't have text and context page. Okay, now Supreme Court defers scientific survey on shivling at Gyanvapi mosque. Okay, guys, this Gyanvapi issue, fine, all these development steps not very much important for the examination, so no need to go. Then guys, Supreme Court back to its full strength as of 34. Okay, why? Because earlier there was the vacancies. Now basically what has happened, two new judges have taken the oath. Now please guys, not important for your exam that you track all the judges name, all the 34 judges, their name and all such things. Fine, the new judges that are being appointed, that are being retired and all such kind of things, it is a routine matter. Then further moving on, guys, we have largely the political articles etc that we have here. Then there are these tenders. Even limited arsenic exposure can mar cognitive ability. We'll see this particular article talking about the arsenic poisoning. Okay, then this time I had a dream team. Okay, so basically Abhilash Tommy's Golden Globe race. Okay, in fact, on Golden Globe race, we have taken one article also in the past. EU's top official wants more scrutiny on Indian product derived from Russian oil. We'll see this particular article as what it is talking about. However, the article as such doesn't contain much of a substance. Basically, the blog of Joseph Bornell is being discussed here, but we will see that what this issue is, because that is important. Then further moving on to the business page, tax waived on annual forex spend up to rupees 7 lakh rupees, finance ministry. Okay, so basically under basically what has happened, up to 7 lakh rupees is spent, fine, annual forex spend, they are tax free. Then further moving on, guys, we have here aircraft shortage hinders airline from capturing gaps by Go First woes. So Go First has recently filed for bankruptcy and they have also ceased their operations. Okay, so there is basically a lot of now what actually has happened. So as the Go First has applied for the bankruptcy, now there is a gap that has been created. Okay, ticket prices are going up. People are not able to have the buy the tickets for their travel. So that gap cannot be filled because aircraft shortage is there. Majority of the aircrafts that are there in India, they are the leased aircrafts. Okay, and they cannot get more aircrafts. Fine, just in immediately. Then we have this sports page. So this is, guys, the overview of entire newspaper. Now let's discuss the relevant articles for our examination one by one in detail. So guys, this is the synoptic notes that I was referring and you can download it. Okay. Now today we will be, now in every day's discussion we take a quotation which can be used to complement our answers in GS paper number 1, 2, 3 and 4. So today we'll be taking the quotation from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar says that justice has always evoked ideas of equality, equality of proportion of compensation. Okay. In short, justice, what justice is? It is nothing but another name of liberty, equality, and fraternity. So when liberty, equality, and fraternity will come together, it will lead to the sense of justice. Justice can never be complete without the presence of all these three elements, as per Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. You can use this idea in GS paper number 2, GS paper number 4, as well as in ethics. You can use this particular idea. Now, moving on to the next article, the first article for the today. Okay, so taking it up now, the first article that we have, first of all, let's read the heading of this particular article. Center reverses Supreme Court order, gives LG final say on bureaucrats. Now this particular article, what is utility, we'll see it with respect to the GS paper number 2, constitutional issues, as well as in GS paper number 2, polity related issues. We'll see this particular article. Now, before going in this particular article, you need to know some background information. If you don't know this background, you will not be able to make sense of this particular article. So basically, guys, what happened? there was a tussle that was going on between the office of the LG Lieutenant Governor and between the Aam Aadmi Party, Delhi government. There is this tussle that was going on. Now, what was this tussle? The tussle was, now first of all, there are multiple tussles that are there. There was this tussle that who will control the bureaucrats, who will control the civil servants in Delhi. So the LG said that transfers, postings, promotions, everything of civil servants, Danix officer that are posted in Delhi, it will be controlled by the LG, Lieutenant Governor. Now we know this particular thing, that Lieutenant Governor is appointed by the union. It is appointed by the union. Okay. So in a way, all the matters with respect to the bureaucrats, their posting, etc., they will go in the hand of the central government. Now understand this thing. Every department of the government is actually headed or is led by a civil servant. So it means that in every department of Delhi, the lieutenant governor and ultimately the central government will have a say. Then ceremonially the elected government of the Delhi, that is the Aam Aadmi Party government, it is virtually dead. They don't have power. And even the chief minister of Delhi said that it will mean a king without the kingdom. So this particular matter was appealed in the Supreme Court. This matter was appealed in the Supreme Court, that who should control the bureaucrats in Delhi. Now there was one judgment that already had come, but it was a split judgment. Two judges were there. One judge favored that bureaucrats will be controlled by the elected Delhi government. Other judge said that LG will control it. So therefore the matter was referred to a bigger bench. So finally, last week, if you are following newspaper analysis regularly, you have seen that article also. We have covered it also. So finally, the Constitution bench of the Supreme Court, they said that it will be the elected government of Delhi who will control the bureaucrats. Aam Aadmi Party government, elected government of Delhi will control the bureaucrats. Okay. So this thing actually happened. Now guys, what has happened? Center government, in order to nullify, in order to cancel out the Supreme Court judgment, has come out with a new ordinance. And this new ordinance we are going to discuss. Now, what is this particular new ordinance that the central government has come out? So, the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Ordinance 2023. This is the name of this particular ordinance. And by this particular ordinance, the central government, they have created a new body by the name of National Capital Civil Service Authority. Now, this National Capital Civil Service Authority, it will have the power to recommend the transfers, postings of all the civil servants, Group A officers, as well as the transfer posting of the officers of DANIX. DANIX stands for Delhi Andaman Nicobar Island Civil Services. So, in the choice of services that are offered under the UPSC CSE exam for which you are preparing, there is the DANIX also. Fine. So, the DANIX officers, Group A officers, their transfer posting will be taken up by this particular body, National Capital Civil Service Authority. So, who are the member of this particular body? So, this particular body will have 4 members. Now, number 1, it will be chaired by the Delhi Chief Minister. Then it will have the it will have 3 members. My mistake, not 4. It will have 3 members. Number 1, Delhi Chief Minister, and then Chief Secretary, and then third, Principal Secretary, Chief Secretary and Principal Secretary of Home. So these 3 members will be there, and any matter with respect to the posting, transfer will be decided by this particular body by the majority of votes. Now, what is the issue? Issue is this, that the Chief Secretary and Principal Secretary of the Home, these are the 2 civil servants which are appointed by the central government first. They are appointed by the central government. It means that these 2 bureaucrats, that is the Chief Secretary and Principal Secretary, they are appointed by the center. They could overrule the elected Chief Minister. Why? Because the matter will be decided by the majority of votes, total 3 members. So whatever the 2 member will say, that will happen. Now these 2 members could be Chief Secretary and Principal Secretary who are appointed by the central government. So central government can recommend this, that okay, you need to post Mr. X there, you need to transfer Mr. Y there. So at the end of the day, again central government had got all the power, okay, by this particular arrangement, this clever arrangement that has been done. Moreover, there are other issues also. There is one more issue, that ultimate power has been given into the hand of the LG. How? So suppose uh, this particular body, that is the National Capital Civil Service Authority, they have taken a particular kind of a decision. They have taken a particular kind of a decision. But LG differs with that particular decision. LG differs with that particular decision. Then what can happen? LG can return that particular recommendation to the authority back. LG will return back the matter to the authority back. And again, if there is an opinion, then whatever LG will say, that will be final. Okay, so if LG doesn't like, can send back. But again, if that particular thing has been sent to LG and LG still doesn't like, then whatever the LG will say, that will be the final. So at the end of the day, who will have the final control? Who will have the final authority? It is the LG. Okay, so in a way, Supreme Court ruling has been nullified. Supreme Court ruling has been overruled because Supreme Court gave that power to the elected government, but again it has been taken back from the elected government's hand. Moreover, what has happened? This particular ordinance has also given huge powers to the Secretary of the Department of Council of Ministers. Secretary of Department of the Council of Ministers. Now understand this particular thing. Basically, it has been said that the Secretary of the Council of Minister, if he is of opinion that any proposal that is being discussed, any proposal that is being considered by the Council of Minister is not in accordance with the provision of law, then it will be the duty of the Secretary to refer that particular matter to the LG for taking a decision. Then LG will take the decision. So again, LG has been given a lot of power fine in the matters related to the Delhi, and this particular tussle again had started. Okay, now whether this particular ordinance is legal, constitutionally feasible or not, now that is again a new battle that has been started, and we'll see what will happen in this particular context. But we see this particular thing, guys, that it is a negative example of federalism. Okay, a negative example of, sorry, asymmetric federalism. Then moving on to the next article. Fine. Okay, so I hope that previous article you have understood very well. Now, how Gujarat is working to become India's green hydrogen hub. Now, this particular article we'll see with respect to the GS paper number 3, environment, clean technology, clean energy. Environment, clean technology, clean energy. Okay. Now, first of all, before going on in this particular article, guys, I would like to tell you some of the basic background information which is not mentioned in this article. And once we understand that, then we'll go into the article. Now, first thing, guys, that I want to tell you is about the National Green Hydrogen Mission, which has been approved by the central government in this particular budget, and approximately 19,700 crore rupees have also been given to this National Green Hydrogen Mission. Now, government wants to promote the development of green hydrogen. Government wants to promote the development of green hydrogen, and the capacity of 5 million metric ton. Capacity of 5 million metric ton of hydrogen is to be added per annum. Now, this particular thing will help in generation of 125 gigawatt of the electricity by 2030. It will also attract the investment of 8 lakh crore rupees, and it will also create the 6 lakh jobs by 2030. Now, what is the idea? If we promote the green hydrogen, to manufacture green hydrogen, to store green hydrogen, to transport green hydrogen, a lot of manpower is needed. It will generate 6 lakh jobs. Now, this green hydrogen that we will be developing, it will also be becoming the source of power. It will be generating electricity. So, 125 gigawatt of electricity by 2030 will be able to generate. Okay, government has given approximately 19,700 crore rupees. Apart from that, more money will be mobilized by the private sector, and in total 8 lakh crore rupees of investment will be mobilized by 2030. Okay, so this is the green hydrogen mission. Now, if you don't know, there might be a question in your mind that what the hell is this green hydrogen, or why this green hydrogen is so important. So let's discuss that particular thing also. So basically, guys, when we talk about the hydrogen, when we talk about the hydrogen, so in the free form, we don't find much of hydrogen in the free form. So how we can capture the hydrogen? Now understand this thing. We can capture the hydrogen by separating the hydrogen from H2O, that is water. So hydrogen is not found much in the free form in environment. So we have to capture the hydrogen from the water, that is H2O. Now for this particular process, what is to be done? We need to carry the process of electrolysis. We need to carry the process of electrolysis. Now, what is electrolysis? In very simple and the most simple explanation, electrolysis is to use electricity, to use electricity, to use electricity, and this electricity will be transferred, or this electricity will be spread throughout the water, and it will split the water in hydrogen and oxygen, in hydrogen and oxygen. So using electricity to split H2O in hydrogen and oxygen, and this particular hydrogen will be captured and this hydrogen will be stored. Now, if you store the hydrogen, what will be the benefit of this particular hydrogen? Understand this particular thing. So if you focus, here we have the hydrogen fuel cell, hydrogen fuel cell. So basically guys, on one hand you will introduce hydrogen, on from other hand you will introduce the oxygen. Okay, and by this particular hydrogen and oxygen you can generate electricity, and this particular electricity can then be used to power buildings, to power airports, to power the vehicles, anything. Now, what is the benefit of hydrogen? Is that the byproduct of this particular hydrogen is just the water. The byproduct of the hydrogen is just the water and some residual heat. So, the point is that while we are using the hydrogen to power buildings, to power the cars, to power the machinery, it is not leading to any harmful emission, it is not leading to any carbon, it is not leading to any other harmful gases. So, it becomes a very clean source of energy. Is it clear or not? So this is the hydrogen, and then hydrogen can be used in a fuel cell. Okay, so it is a very important and a very good portable source of energy. Okay, so hydrogen can just be, now see this thing, today we have the electric cars also, but what is the problem in the electric cars? Electric cars are also very much clean, but what is the problem? Problem is that electric cars have to be charged. Okay, and charging time of electric car is anywhere around 4, 5, 6 hours. In some cases it goes to 10, 12 hours also. So because of this particular thing, people are not very much eager to adopt to the electric cars, because you can go to 3, 400 kilometers, then you need to find a charging station, you need to charge it for 5, 6 hours, and then you can move. But what is the hydrogen? Throughout the country, see, if we have adequate number of the hydrogen gas, we will deploy the pumps throughout the country. As you fill CNG in your car, this hydrogen can be filled in the car in just 2, 3 minutes, and then you are ready to go. So therefore, the hydrogen cars or hydrogen powered vehicles happen to be little bit more appealing to the government. Okay. Now, so we have discussed that how the hydrogen is to be made. Now the issue comes that what about this green hydrogen? What about this green hydrogen? Now let's understand this issue also. So I told you that to make hydrogen, we have to use this particular process of electrolysis. And I told you that in electrolysis, we need electricity. Now the green hydrogen, now see from where the electricity will come first. Now that particular electricity can come from burning coal, that electricity can come from burning natural gas, or that electricity can come from burning, that electricity could come from any renewable source. Now understand this particular thing, that if you are actually burning the coal, and coal electricity you are using for electrolysis, actually this is not very green hydrogen, this is not very green kind of energy. Why? Because you burned the coal, from the coal you generated electricity, then you carried the electrolysis. So here the carbon emissions have happened, so it is not very green type of fuel. Now what is green hydrogen? Green hydrogen is that hydrogen in which the electricity that we are using in electrolysis, that electricity has been developed by using some renewable. So, that electricity is coming from the renewable source, from solar or from wind power, etc. That is the renewable. So guys, we have brown hydrogen or black hydrogen, fine, where coal has been burnt. Green hydrogen is that hydrogen where electricity for electrolysis has been brought from the renewable sources. So in this way we want to make the green hydrogen. Okay, now guys, different state governments are coming out with the proposal that how they can become the hub for the green hydrogen. And here the Gujarat government is looking forward to become the country's first green hydrogen manufacturing hub. And therefore the Gujarat government is signing the memorandum of understanding with the corporations such as Reliance, Adani, ArcelorMittal, Torrent. Okay, and they will be pledging that they will generate green hydrogen, which will help to make India as a green hydrogen hub. Moreover, the state government has also given the status of green hydrogen manufacturing as a priority sector. Green hydrogen manufacturing has been referred, so that the easy finance availability is there for green hydrogen. Now, the government will be providing the subsidized land or a kind of a subsidized land to the corporates so that they can generate the green hydrogen. And under the land allotment policy, suppose 100 acre of land has been given to the Reliance that you make a green hydrogen here. Then they must meet 50% of their hydrogen production capacity within 5 years. That is, if they said, for example, they said that we will be generating 1 million metric ton of hydrogen. So 0.5 they should achieve within 5 years, and 100% capacity they should achieve within 8 years. So if they fulfill this obligation, then they will be given the subsidized lands. And by developing ample amount of hydrogen, what will happen? India will be able to fulfill the net zero emission target that we have taken to be achieved by 2070. Now understand one particular thing, guys. Okay, that in COP26, we have taken the Panch Amrit targets. In COP26, we have taken the Panch Amrit target, that is a set of 5 targets. And under these Panch Amrit target, there is the target to become the carbon neutral by 2070. To become the carbon neutral by 2070. Okay, that is something. Okay, so we will be able to achieve the carbon neutrality by 2070. Moreover, guys, under the INDC targets of India, India has taken the target to reduce the carbon emission by 45% by 2030. And that thing will also happen when we will have renewable sources, the clean energies. Okay, so this is something that has happened. Okay, so moreover, the point is that who will be allowed to develop the green hydrogen? Those companies will be allowed to develop the green hydrogen which have a prior experience of producing at least 500 megawatt of renewable energy. So earlier they have developed energy in solar, wind. So prior experience will be something which is important and that will be considered. Okay, so that is all, guys, about it. And now moreover, the companies will also be developing, setting the factories for solar photovoltaic modules, electrolyzers. Now, what are the electrolyzers? So, electrolyzers are those devices which are used to carry that electrolysis. Okay, energy storage batteries and all these things also, the investments will be brought. Now, one thing, guys, I want to tell you here. See, the newspaper article, the Hindu newspaper article mentions this particular thing, that under the nationally determined contributions, India has set a target of becoming a net zero emission country by 2070. But guys, this thing is not correct. Why? Because see this thing, that we have taken the target of now see, INDCs, intended nationally determined contributions. These INDCs were taken in Paris. And recently we have revised the INDCs. So neither in Paris we have taken this 2070 goal, neither in these revised INDCs we have said that by 2070 we will achieve this particular thing. But this 2070 goal of becoming carbon neutral, this goal was taken up in 2021. This goal was taken in 2021 in COP26 in Glasgow, where the 5 targets were taken, and in the out of 5 this one was also taken up. But India has not committed. It is like this, that in good faith we will try to achieve it, but India has not committed. So when we talk about the official INDCs, in the official INDC, the INDC of becoming carbon neutral is not there. You can check it on the onto the official sources as well if you want. Okay, so this is also fine, that you need to understand. Okay, now guys, moving to the next article. Among the elite. Now we will see this particular article with it will be important with respect to the GS paper number 2, international affairs, international relations, international issues. Now see this thing. Basically 2023 is an important year for India. Why? Because we have become the president of G20. We will also be chairing the SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization meet. Right now, guys, the G7, which is the group of 7 most industrialized countries, G7 summit is to be held in Japan. And in that, now, first of all, India is not official member of G7. But Japan has invited India also, that India Prime Minister should come to the Japan and should attend the G7 summit. So Prime Minister of India will be attending the G7 summit. Okay, now when we talk about, guys, right now, you know this thing that Russia Ukraine war is going on, and as Russia Ukraine war is going on, the world is divided, and G7 countries are the one who have condemned Russia, and G7 countries are the one who are supporting Ukraine. And in the past few months, if we see, the language of diplomacy has also been not very much subtle. Very outrightly, these G7 countries are condemning Russia. Very outrightly, they are criticizing Russia in the most vehement tones. Now, when we talk about these G7 countries will be meeting, that is all these G7 countries, US, UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan and EU. Okay, they might come out and might impose even more sanctions against Russia, and even more negative tone against the Russia will be taken up, and then India will be the one responsible country who has to ensure that a balanced decisions are coming out into the G7. Up till now, India has played a very balanced role. Neither India has been supportive of Russia clearly. Now, India has condemned the war, but neither India is very much critical of Russia, neither of the Ukraine. But war is condemned by India. So India has played a balancing role, and in G7 also India need to play a balancing role, that a balanced outcome should come. Now, when we talk about the G7, okay, the Russia, China, they have not actually been invited. Okay. Now, guys, when we talk about the Russia, China, particularly the China, China has been a country which always had presented itself as the champion of the global south. What is the global south? Global south is a term which means the grouping of the developing countries. Now, point is that, guys, see, as Russia Ukraine war is going on, because of this particular war, so much sanctions have been imposed on Russia. Now, Russia was a major exporter to Russia was a country on which many of the developing countries were dependent. For example, Russia was a major exporter of oil. Russia was a major exporter of many other metals and minerals also, and the developing countries were dependent. When you take about the Ukraine, Ukraine was the breadbasket of the Europe, okay, and Ukraine was a major supplier of grains. Russia was also the major supplier of the food grains. But as the war is going on, there is a lot of impact on developing countries that has come. Okay, so what are the impacts there on the developing world? There is a food inflation that is there. Food inflation, fertilizer shortage, energy security has been threatened. So developing countries' interest, who will take? It will be India, who will be becoming the voice of the global south here. India will be becoming the voice of the global south. Moreover, here in G7 summit that is being held in the Japan, the Japan has also invited the Ukrainian president who will be visiting, and that this will be the time when there is a possibility that the Ukraine and India, fine, the Ukraine president and Indian prime minister will meet for the first time. Okay, and this could also be the possibility where the India might extend the invitation of G20, where India might extend the invitation to Ukraine to attend the G7 summit that will be held, okay, in September. And if Ukraine comes to the G20 summit, there Russia will also be there, China will also be there. India can use the opportunity to mediate the crisis. Okay, fine. This is something. Now, apart from this, now moving on, apart from this particular thing, basically here, the countries will also be discussing the debt sustainability, fine, debt trap, where the country Sri Lanka has been caught up. Okay, the countries such as Sri Lanka, they have taken a lot of debt by the countries such as China, and now they are not able to service that, and it is bringing new economic crisis. So how to solve these particular problems? They will also be taken up by the G7 plus countries. G7 means G7, and G7 plus means the countries who are additionally invited to the G7. Now, India will also be taking up the stand and will be speaking on very key issues such as supply chain reliability. Now, understand this thing. When we talk about the China, China was a major supply chain link. Supply in the supply chain, the China played a very important role. Critical supplies such as semiconductors, critical supplies for pharmaceuticals, critical supplies for IT, they were coming from China. But now the China is basically right now against the China, there is a lot of wrath that has developed. So what is an alternative to China? Fine, we need to find it. Okay, alternative energy coalitions. Okay, all these particular things are something that will be taken up. Moreover, as India is attending it, now see this thing, when we talk about India, India is a nuclear power but has not been the member of the NPT. Why? Because India says that NPT is discriminatory. NPT, non-proliferation treaty. Now, non-proliferation treaty is the treaty to ensure that the nuclear technologies don't go into the hand of the non-nuclear countries. It divides the world countries as nuclear countries and non-nuclear countries. So basically, it is said that fine. Uh, it is said that the NPTs are discriminatory. Why? Because what they have done, the countries which carried the nuclear test before 1967, they have been arbitrarily classified as a nuclear nations. This is not a very true and an objective kind of a parameter to divide countries such as. So India has never signed the NPT, but still India has built an impeccable record, a very good record in nuclear restraint. Okay. So this is something, guys, which will send the message to Japan, US also, that how India, being the non-signatory of NPT, has still held a very good track record. Okay, so this is, guys, the all key takeaways from this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. Now moving to the next article, tracking SDG progress the Bhopal way. Now, basically, this particular article, guys, will see with respect to GS paper number 3, sustainable development. GS paper number 3, sustainable development. Before going in this particular article, first of all, guys, basic information. So here we have this particular pictograph which contains sustainable developmental goals. So basically, in 2015, the 193 countries, they have adopted these 17 goals, and within these 17 goals there are 169 targets. For example, in the goal number 1, no poverty, there are the individual goals, targets are there. So 17 goals, and within 17 goals 169 targets are there. So we have adopted these SDG goals in 2015, and they are to be achieved by 2030. What are the goals? Goal number 1, no poverty. Goal number 2, zero hunger. Goal number 3, good health and well-being. Goal number 4, quality education, and likewise. Now, basically, guys, under this particular 17 goals, the targets have been taken up. Fine. For example, end the extreme poverty by 2030. This is the goal number 1. End the extreme poverty. Now, guys, first of all, what do we mean by the word poverty? Now, one concept you need to understand. First of all, in terms of poverty, there are the national poverty lines, and then there is an international poverty line. So national poverty line, every country will have its own. And when we talk about the international poverty line, it is given by the World Bank. World Bank gives the poverty line at $1.9 per day. Any person earning less than any person having less than $1.9 per day is poor, and extreme poverty is at $1.25. So extreme poverty is to be eliminated by 2030. That is the goal. Okay. Now, guys, when we talk about, these are the goals that have been taken up. Every country has to achieve certain goal. Now, you tell me, okay, let us take one very basic example to understand this concept. See, this is a country. This is a country. Country has been given a target. Now, within country, there will be the states. Within a country, there will be the state. Within the state, there will be districts. Within the district, there will be, let's say, the blocks. Within the blocks, okay, there will be the villages. Sorry, let not go too much in detail. This is the country. Within the country, there will be the state. Within the state, there will be the city. There will be the city, or you can say there will be the municipality. There will be the town, all these things. Now, you tell me, if the cities or the towns or the states will not be able to fulfill the goal, can the country as a whole fulfill the goal? Obviously, no. If you want that a particular goal is to be achieved at the national level, if a particular goal is to be achieved at the national level, then all the cities, all the constituents, all the states, blocks, they also needed to be given some sub target, and they should achieve that particular sub target. Only when all the cities will reach certain sub target that will be given to them, in totality the nation will achieve the target. Okay. So basically, guys, what has happened in this particular context comes the voluntary local review concept. Voluntary local review concept. What is voluntary local review concept? Voluntary local review is a means for driving and reporting local implementation of SDG at the subnational and the city level. So under the SDG, a particular goal has been taken to the country as a whole. So if country wants to reach subnational units, that is the state, cities also reach it. Now, to track the progress of SDG at the city level, to track the progress of the SDG at the state level, Fine, we call it as the voluntary local review. Now what has happened recently, Bhopal has become the first city to join the global movement on localization of SDG. Localization of SDG. Okay. Now, what do we understand by the localization of SDG? Now, guys, understand this thing. Every area will have its own problems, and every area has its own ways, solutions to deal with that particular problem. So, SDGs, they have been given in a very generic kind of a tone, but locally they have to be modified, locally they have to be adopted, okay, to solve the problems. So the countries are moving towards the localization of SDG goals, where the goals are being suitably adopted into particular region. A particular big SDG goal is being broken down and some specific sub targets are being given. Okay, now we have seen this particular thing, that these 169 sub targets and 17 goals, they cater to every aspect of development. They cater to people, planet, and prosperity. Now, when we talk about, guys, India from very long has adopted the SDG and is now localizing the SDG, is giving the sub-national targets to different regions so that the SDG as a whole can be achieved. Now, Niti Aayog also have presented the India's second VNR, that is the voluntary local, voluntary national review. Okay. Now, further, guys, moving on, when we talk about the India, so Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation has also recently published the National Indicator Framework for reporting the progress in the SDGs, for reporting the progress of the SDGs, and also it represents India's developmental journey vis-a-vis the SDGs are concerned, what India is doing, what initiatives have been taken by India. Now, when we talk about SDG, guys, what has happened? According to Niti Aayog, 23 states and union territories have actually also prepared a vision document based on the SDGs, and they have started to localize the SDG. Moreover, the cities also are taking targets in this particular direction. Now, the cities are the most important stakeholder in achieving the SDG goals by 2030. Fine, because I told you that if national level a goal is to be achieved, then the city states, they also need to do something. Now, it has been said that 65% of the 169 targets, 65% of the 169 targets can be fulfilled only when the local urban bodies will be involved. If the local urban stakeholders are not involved, then they cannot be achieved. Okay. Now, voluntary local review, VLR. Okay, in the starting we have discussed VLR. What is VLR? VLR is a tool to demonstrate that how local actions are, let's see, VLR is a tool, VLR is a way to see what has been done at the local level to implement or to achieve an SDG and how successful they are. Okay, so we are taking up now. Bhopal have also taken recently the VLR, which is the initial joint collaboration between the Bhopal Municipal Corporation, UN Habitat, and some local stakeholders, NGOs. They have also participated here. Okay, so by this particular way, we are localizing the SDGs and we are moving forward to fulfill the SDG. Now, I have discussed that the SDG, when we talk about them, they are focused on three things, that is people, planet, and prosperity. So out of the SDG goals, goal number 1, 3, 4, 5, it concerns people directly. For example, I will give you an example. If you talk about the SDG goal number 1, what SDG goal number 1 is? SDG goal number 1 is no poverty. So obviously directly concerns the people. Goal number 3 is good health and well-being. It directly concerns the people. Okay, so this is the division of SDG goals. Now, so therefore, guys, here we have all the initiatives that have been taken by India to fulfill the SDG targets: voluntary local review, voluntary national review, Niti Aayog, Bhopal. All these contexts, all these examples you need to use, that what steps India have taken in order to fulfill or achieve the sustainable development. Okay, that is about it. Now, moving to the next article. Even limited arsenic exposure can mar cognitive ability study. This particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 3, GS paper number 2, health, public health, as well as we will also see it that how pollutants, now pollution is something which is contained in GS paper number 3. So how pollutions or how pollutants, okay, are impacting the public health. Okay, so basically, guys, understand this particular thing. Now, when we talk about the arsenic, So we have now, first of all, guys, when we are withdrawing the water from the ground, okay, or main number of times even the water that is carried into the stream, it has the presence of arsenic. And we see this thing that the heavy exposure of arsenic is linked to many problems, such as the high arsenic can lead to reduced gray matter. What is gray matter? Gray matter is the brain tissue that is vital to cognitive function, memory, etc. Okay, and if a lot of arsenic is exposed, then it will lead to weaker connections within the regions of the brain, and there will be the problem in concentration. Switching between tasks is a very big problem. There will be the the memory will be short lived. All these issues will be there if arsenic contamination, if arsenic exposure is done. Now, up till now, we have an idea that if more arsenic is exposed through the groundwater or through intoxicant, through groundwater or through some other things, these issues will be there. But now this particular study has been released in this particular journal by the name of JAMA Network Open, and this new study which has been released in this particular journal, it provides that even the very little chronic means a continuous over a long period of time, even very little exposure of arsenic can lead to the can be lead to the neurological problems. Okay, and it has been said that there is a silent pandemic that is going on now. Guys, understand this particular thing. A large part of the country, large number of people are consuming directly the groundwater, or they are drawing the water from the rivers where arsenic where arsenic contamination has happened, or the concentration of arsenic is very much high. We are not treating that water, we are not purifying that particular water. In many places the piped water is not reached. People are directly drawing groundwater, or directly they are using the water from streams and rivers. It is exposing the people with the arsenic, and this silent pandemic is going on. Is it clear or not? Now, when we talk about the government, okay, the central and state governments in Bihar, West Bengal, they have tried to address the problem of arsenic contamination and have tried to provide piped drinking water, but still the connectivity is not proper. Now, when we talk about, guys, providing the clean piped drinking water, for that we have the Jal Jeevan mission, where by 2024 functional household tap connections are to be given to every household, but still implementation is not very much proper. Okay, so this is all about it. And then EU's top official wants more scrutiny on Indian products derived from Russian oil. Now, guys, what is this entire issue? So basically, guys, right now we see that Ukraine Russia war is going on. Ukraine Russia war is going on. And because this war is going on, now West has condemned Russia for this particular war. And West doesn't want that more money should go to Russia. Now, when we talk about Russia, Russia is a very big exporter of oil, very big exporter of natural gas, crude oil. And by that, Russia gets money. And that money Russia can use against Ukraine. Now, West has the G7 countries in the past has come out with this particular ruling that if any country wants to buy oil from Russia, they cannot buy the oil at the price more than $60 per barrel. Okay, but what moreover, and the countries of European Union, they will not buy any oil or oil product from Russia. These were the sanctions that have been imposed. Now, guys, what has happened in the past? There are the reports that the India and China, they have bought oil from Russia at price more than $60 per barrel. And what in fact India is doing? India is taking the oil from Russia, is purifying that particular oil in the refineries, and then supplying the finished products to the European Union. Now, European Union is consuming the products from India, thinking that we have bypassed the Russia, but actually what is happening at the end of the day, Russian oil is coming again to European Union, but through the India. So because of this particular thing, India has been called as a laundromat country by the European Union. Now, guys, in this particular direction, what has happened? Okay, so now the European Union's top foreign affairs and security official Joseph Borrell had said that if this is happening, then what is the mistake of India? What is the mistake of India? European Union countries, you need to scrutinize that you are not consuming the Russian oil. What is the problem of, what is the mistake of India? India is simply getting their oil, refining and selling it as a final product. So European Union need to be careful. Why you are imposing, putting allegations on India? So this is something that has been taken. So his blog, his reaction, his statement, all these things have been carried. Guys, no need to go in the article as such and to track his statements, that what he has said, what words he have used, but you need to know this particular issue. Okay, so that is all guys about it. Fine. I hope that you have understood this article. And now moving to the next article. Okay, oh sorry, mains practice question for today. So question reads, Bhopal has become the first city in India to adopt the localization of United Nations SDG. In this context, discuss what do you understand by SDGs localization and why it is important. So this will be the answer for GS paper number 3, sustainable development. That is all guys about it, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. That is all guys for today. I hope you have understood it. Now we'll meet on Monday. Till then guys, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.